When it comes to Skylands, there are tens if not hundreds of different types of villains within the lore, but the ones that manage to show up the most outside of Chaos are a group known as the Doom Raiders. The wider Skylanders community were introduced to the Doom Raiders in Skylanders Trap Team, and they would continue to be part of the franchise ever since. Some of them would not only appear in Imaginators as playable senseis with their own figures, but they would also appear in other media like comics in the Skylanders Academy show. This group of villains clearly had a large effect on the fan base, which means they all got a crap ton of lore to go with them. And this stuff is surprisingly deep and far more complex than it ever had to be. We got tragedy, insanity, and assortment of crimes related to robbery. So today we are going to go over some of the many Doom Raiders. And like the elves, dragons, and knights, the rest of them will be a part 2 video sometime in the future. So without further ado, let's get started! When it came to deciding who the first Doom Raider of the video was going to be, it surprisingly wasn't that hard. When it comes to the Doom Raiders, the Golden Queen is probably their most popular member. She was the team's leader, and she was basically the person who came up with the plan and Trap Team to get all the gold in Skylands. And the fact that she was made of gold also helped as well. But with that out the way, let's get into her history. The Golden Queen has been obsessed with gold her entire life, doing literally anything and everything to get it. She's the kind of person to sell her entire stockpile of gold just to get a little more. But why sell the gold to get more of it when you can just steal it? The fact that other people owned gold in the first place drove her up the wall like never before, but she realized that if she wanted to get all the gold in Skylands to herself, she would need the help of others. That's when she decided to form the Doom Raiders, promising its members riches and power that they would only see in their dreams. And once they were united, they would go on to terrorize Skylands until the Trap Team put a stop to them, sending them to Cloudcracker Prison, where she would stay for a time until the events of Trap Team occur. But we're going to skip over that and talk about her escapades afterwards. In an IDW comic called Graduation Day, she and some of the other Doom Raiders snuck into the academy under the guise of a band and turned the entirety of the school's faculty into golden statues, as she planned to ambush the returning Skylanders. But she completely forgot about the Minis, who managed to capture her and the rest of the Doomlanders before the Skylanders could get back. After being captured for a little while, sometime between Superchargers and Imaginators, Eon gave all the villains a choice: go back to the newly built Cloudcracker Prison, or become Skylanders senseis. Most of the Doom Raiders accepted the deal, but before they could do that, they had to rearrange all the books in the Great Library, a task that took them almost 2 years. Not months, years. To the Queen's dismay, this task didn't have anything to do with gold, but during this time, she began to ask herself the main question of why? Why was she so obsessed with gold? This caused her to rethink her entire life and realize that there was far more to it than just stealing and thieving. So once her work was done, she fully dedicated herself to teaching the new students of the sorcerer class, considering herself mostly reformed. Ooh boy, there's a lot I want to talk about. Firstly, there's this weird thing I found in the relationship section that I want to talk about. There's only 4 real entries, and most of them are somewhat complex, except for Dreamcatchers. And in this section, it says that Golden Queen went to Dreamcatcher for relationship advice that she found questionable. Wait, huh? This is a can of worms that I wasn't expecting to find, but hey, it's a welcome one. Now, this can mean multiple things, but she was either A, trying to improve her relationship with the other Doom Raiders, or B, there was a special someone at one point in her life. Now, I know this isn't really likely, but it would be a cool concept to explore in the comics or something, never mind. The IDW comics were cancelled because it was going to conflict with the Academy show. Okay, there's a lot of stuff I can say about this, but to sum it up, imagine if the IDW Sonic issues were cancelled because Sonic Boom was going to come out next week. I think we're done here, on to the next Doomlander.
Let there be rock!
Tragedy. That's all I really have to say for Wolfgang's introduction. It's just tragic. He had literally everything, but whatever Skylands god that exists took it personally, and now we're here. Wolfgang didn't start his life out as an undead werewolf. In fact, he had a pretty comfortable life as a musician, and he was set to marry a princess too. What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler alert, everything. He planned to unveil a symphony to the greatest music aficionados of all time, thinking that they would love it, but unluckily for him, he absolutely tanked his performance. It was so bad that it physically hurt to listen to, and his life completely fell apart from there. Being shunned the way he was, he physically transformed into a werewolf. And not only that, the princess he was betrothed to didn't even want to marry him anymore. This pretty much broke him, and he went out on a terror spree against the royal subjects around him. And this would catch the attention of the Golden Queen, who recruited him into the Doom Raiders. He would then go on to help out an army of trolls before getting himself captured and being sent to Cloudcracker Prison. The events of Trap Team would happen, and he would join the Golden Queen in her quest to infiltrate the academy, only for the minis to trick him into chasing after them and crashing into Dr. Crankcase, knocking both of them out. Good god, it's just a downward spiral for him, isn't it? But thankfully, this is rock bottom. It's only up from here. After he received the offer from Eon, along with the rest of the Doom Raiders, he realized that he could gain far more respect by teaching Skylanders than he ever would being a musician. So he would do exactly that, becoming a sensei along with the rest of the Doomlanders. Now, there's not really much I want to say about Wolfgang. He had a surprisingly well-written backstory. But the one real question I have is, how did he even become a werewolf in the first place? Was it like genetic or something? I think it might be genetic because his brother, who shows up in Imaginators, is also a werewolf. Now that I have a closer look at him, I actually think they're both the same model. But if that's the case, then what triggered the transformation for him? Did his brother pants him in front of his crush or something? Like, it does say that Sal resents his brother in the wiki, but I know I'm rambling again, but I genuinely want to know what caused this man's transformation. But with that out the way, let's get to the last Doom Raider, because good lord, I am on the 3rd page of the script, and as I'm writing it, it is currently 30 minutes before Monday, so I need to hurry the hell up.
How am I supposed to steal these scientists' dreams with you waking everybody up?
When it comes to all of the Doom Raiders, I think I dislike Dreamcatcher the most, but with mine winding out of the way, let's get on with her lore. The Cloudcracker prison wasn't the first prison that she was held in. In fact, it was the second. She used to be confined in lucid lockdown in the realm of dreams, but she somehow managed to escape not only the prison, but the dimension itself, somehow making it to Skylands and creating absolute havoc. She could not only read minds while her victim was sleeping, but bring the nightmares to life, and because of this, she drove entire villages mad. And from what I can tell, she wasn't doing any of this because she had some sort of major goal or anything. She was doing this because she thought it was funny. Realizing that Dreamcatcher would be an extremely useful ally, the Golden Queen went out of her way to personally invite her into the Doom Raiders, which she would join. This is also when Golden Queen asked her about the relationship advice, but it doesn't really matter since it doesn't really go anywhere. She would go on to terrorize Skylands and the rest of the Doomlanders before they were eventually caught and sent to Cloudcracker prison. And like everyone else, she would break out of Cloudcracker and play a major role in Trap Team. And surprisingly, this is where she stops appearing. Like, entirely. She shows up nowhere else in the lore and just vanishes. So either one of two things happened. She either stayed in prison in the rebuilt Cloudcracker prison, or she just escaped again and disappeared. But I think it's time to move on, because this is where I'm going to end the video for today. I apologize if I sound weird in this video. I actually have a pretty bad sore throat, but I really need to get this out. But thank you for watching. Like always, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy content like this. Share this around so I can grow as a channel. Leave a comment down below to make the algorithm happy. And I will see you all in the next one.